This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel today. And let me tell you, oh boy, we are within a week, which means we are within, oh my goodness, 20 days of the no, sorry, 17 days of the NHL season starting. I got my math a little confused. Don't blame me. It's 9:14 in the morning as I record this. All right, we'll get going throughout the day. We still got a Team Canada game to get to today, so let's of course have a little bit of fun with that one. But first, we got the Oilers discussion to get to, and yes, that 7 days to training camp. Oh man, looms large for us at this point because it's been a long time since we last saw our group of guys on the ice competing for us, and we have not seen this group of guys on the ice competing for us yet because we have made a lot of key acquisitions, right? Maybe one of the most forgotten acquisitions everybody seems not to talk about is Kyle Turris, right? That's a new Edmonton Oiler this year. Oh, don't forget that Jesse Puljujärvi's back. Tyson Barrie's here now. You've got a third string goaltender that could easily become the backup goaltender. You've got, oh my goodness, name after name. Dominik Kahun, right? Maybe, potentially, top six forward for us. There is so many possibilities coming our way this year. And unfortunately, for everybody that likes to detract from the Oilers, is they are actually good possibilities this year. It's not like years previous where it's like, oh, well, Ty Ratty's got to really take that step forward. He did well at the end of the last year. Now he's got to take that step forward and cement himself as a top six forward, and the Oilers will make the playoffs. Well, no, we're not counting on that. What we're counting on is Zach Kassian engaging in the battle, which we've seen him do. He got paid to do it the last year, right? He got paid $3.2 million for the next 4 years to do it. And, well, now we're counting on him to step up his game after what was a tough go in the playoffs for him. And then, of course, you've got Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who we're counting on to be no longer an elite second-line center. We're now counting on him to ride shotgun with Leon Draisaitl and put up as many points as possible. Or, because of Dominik Kahun, go up there with Connor McDavid and just tap, 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 shoot the puck, shoot the puck, shoot the puck, and score a whole bunch of goals until, of course, Jesse Puljujärvi gets up there on that top line, and then start dishing it off to Jesse and allow him to score about 30 this year, right? If everything comes around the way it needs to. Now, that's the other thing, the third line. We actually have a bona fide NHL third line this year. Tyler Ennis, yeah, Kyle Turris, Jesse Puljujärvi. I'm sorry, in that, there is enough talent to call that a bona fide NHL third line. Kyle Turris, right there, generally speaking, for most of his career, a top six centerman. Well, now down into a top nine role for the Oilers, but right where he needs to be at this point of his career. Yes, Puljujärvi needs a great distributor of the puck. That's Kyle Turris. Tyler Ennis, a guy who can do either or and really figure out just where he needs to be on the ice. Hopefully that leg's healed up nicely and done very well for him at his more so advanced age. Right, he's pushing over 30 now, so. But you look at that, right? Bang. Tyler Ennis, Kyle Turris, and Jesse Puljujärvi. That looks to be a great line. Oh, maybe Joakim Nygard gets up there instead. Oh, look at that. Now suddenly we're talking about the training camp questions. And oh, heck yes, this is where it gets very exciting. Is I've already kind of, right, everything in the top nine seems pretty easy to pin together. But suddenly, yeah, the bottom three forwards, you need to figure out a trade somewhere in there because you can't have the logjam of Kara, Chiasson, Neal, Patrick Russell, Joakim Nygard, Gaetan Oss, Ryan McLeod, Tyler Benson. There's way too many guys for one possible spot. Adam Cracknell, who's probably going to see a game or two this year for some reason, right? There's a lot of guys somewhere in there that need to find some ice time that simply, even with a taxi squad, we can't find ice time for. Now, it's not necessarily that we need to trade two or three guys. It's just trade one guy, and you probably alleviate the logjam enough to figure out some roles. And right, whether it be a guy like Alex Chiasson who alleviates the power play roles, right? Now you have room for Kyler Yamamoto to be a power play player, or you alleviate Jujhar Khaira, so you have room for James Neal to have a bona fide spot in the lineup as a big body engaging in the physical and scoring aspect on that fourth line. You have Alex Chiasson, of course, well, bang, right? So there's a lot of ideas as to how you could do it, and I guess we'll remain to see how it all works out for us as Oilers fans. But that's just the forwards. Now the defense, this is where it gets complicated, because yes, Ethan Bear is going to be in camp at some point, because I think there has to be some kind of testing situation going on as well before he gets into actual training camps. So the longer this thing goes, the longer we have to wait on that, and the longer it just doesn't work for the Oilers. Whether you're one of those guys that says opening night we'll sign him or whatever, he still needs to be cleared in protocol before we can actually get him on the ice. So that's what worries me a little bit to another degree. But we'll stop worrying about Ethan Bear. Everybody's convinced it's going to happen. I don't need to convince you it's going to happen. So end of the story. It's going to happen. It's all going to be fine. Whatever. So great dandy. All right. That's the right side, right? You've got Bear. You've got Bouchard, you've got Larson, and you've got Barry. Okay, that seems pretty straightforward, pretty standard, pretty easy to understand. That's actually a pretty good right side, all things considered, for the Edmonton Oilers. Now on the left side, you've got no Oscar Klefbom, but you've got Darnell Nurse, Caleb Jones, Chris Russell, and Slater Cuckoo. So essentially, right, realistically, you've got one B defenseman, right? Darnell Nurse has that capability to be a number one defenseman, but at this point last year he played 1B defense, so hopefully he can take that true number one role and we're good. Are we counting on it? Probably not. That's just me being a betting man. And then second pair, we don't actually have a defenseman on the second pair. That's the unfortunate part here. We don't actually have a true second pairing left-hand shot defenseman. We're probably plugging Caleb Jones into that hole, and he probably will swim in that role. Hopefully everything goes well. Well, now, okay, fine, that's great. But now you've got Cuckoo and Russell, who will be competing for that third role. Obviously, yeah, Chris Russell's going to probably have it over Cuckoo, but at the same rate, Slater Cuckoo's the guy who, if he gets hot, could ride up to that second pair and overtake Caleb Jones for a while. Well, you know what? Depends how many games he plays, how many games he gets into, and how many big minutes he actually gets out there and does impactful things for the Oilers. That becomes the question, right? And I mean, on Cuckoo, whether he's a steady Eddie for the rest of the year after Chris Russell has that injury everybody talks about every year, well, maybe he just rides it out into the playoffs. Okay, great. Or maybe Slater Cuckoo rides up to the second pair because he's scoring a whole bunch of points. Or Slater, right? Okay, possibilities. But you also have the reality that Caleb Jones is probably going to be your second pairing defenseman all year. Unless an injury happens, Chris Russell is probably going to be your third pairing defenseman just to have a veteran penalty killer in the lineup. And then you have Cuckoo as your seventh. Evan Bouchard as your quote-unquote 7th, 8th, whatever you want to say, as the replacement on the right side. And you've got a set defense, but again, somewhere in there, you got to find Philip Broberg and Dmitry Samorukov when they come back from overseas later this season, okay? And then goaltending, right? I talked about goaltending and how interesting this gets, and this is the fun part about camp for us. Mikko Koskinen, he's probably going to be Mikko Koskinen. Mike Smith, love him or hate him, he's going to be Mike Smith. Anton Forsberg, completely unknown commodity. Who knows what Anton Forsberg is going to be? And the scary part is choosing that taxi squad goalie. Yes, the odds-on favorite would be Anton Forsberg, but then you also have Stuart Skinner, who could come into camp just ready, raring to go, and just looking sharp in all the scrimmages. And then suddenly, bang, you've got yourself a different taxi squad goalie than a lot of us predicted. But that's really the only thing that's open for debate. And if you're worried about the backup position becoming available because Mike Smith falters, Anton Forsberg is much more likely of a candidate with NHL experience than Stuart Skinner. But again, you know what happens when these NHL goalies come up with no games played in a pressure-packed situation. Suddenly they are the best goalie that season. And I'm not saying that's possible for Stuart Skinner, but it's possible. It's possible. So we'll leave that debate open as well. And I mean, I talked to Sam in Bakersfield a little bit, and I've read enough comments about Bakersfield. Is Stuart Skinner, did he help his case last year? Not fully. But did the Bakersfield Condors help his case? Not at all. So you take those two things and you potentially have a goalie that's spent all this time working on himself, very well, Stuart Skinner could potentially steal that taxi squad role. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. That's just kind of some of my thoughts, kind of some of the fun that we're going to see in camp. Camp is 7 days away, my friends, and we still don't have a roster. So hold on. That's got to be coming tomorrow, which I've got the day off. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that when that releases, hopefully tomorrow. And I will catch you guys, as always, in the next one. A little bit later on today, we got Team Canada versus Team Slovakia at the World Juniors coming up, live stream. The nuttiest day on Dolynny TV in 2020, all right? So the previous record was 7,000 views in a day on Dolynny TV for 2020's highest view count in a day. How about 13,300 yesterday? That is almost exactly double. That is absolutely insane. So thank you to anyone watching this video that tuned in yesterday. I appreciate it for helping me set a record in 2020 with a total of 4 days left. That's pretty insane. Guys, you rock. Thank you so much. I am up on out of here.